Hello everyone, happy Monday. Okay, I think I'll wait maybe a minute and see if anyone gets on just while I kind of gather up the rest of my supplies here. All right, well, I'm so excited that you guys joined us today. This project is called the Paddle Boat Popsicle Stick, and it's really fun to do, super easy craft for you to do at home with a little experiment. And once you've finished your boat, make sure to send us photos or videos of what your boat turned out to be and how it works. So first off, what you're gonna need are popsicle sticks, probably about 15 of them. You can use the thinner ones. If you use the thinner popsicle sticks, you'll need more than 15. I'm using the thicker ones, so they're a little bit easier to do. And then you'll need a couple rubber bands. I suggest using the smaller ones, otherwise thicker ones will work. You don't want to go too thick because we're going to be lacing them through the boat to help with your paddle. You'll also need scissors and a hot glue gun handy to make sure that everything stays together. Okay, so first what we're going to do to make our boat is we got to make the frame. So you're going to take 2 popsicle sticks and lay them down on a flat surface in front of you. I don't know if you can see that. Maybe I can push it out a little more. So you're going to lay it down on a flat surface in front of you, parallel to each other. Then what you're going to want to do is we're going to make the point of the boat. So you're going to take a popsicle stick and you can either break it or cut it in half. What I like to do is I like to kind of eyeball where half is. So you'll put your scissors right in the middle and kind of just cut right down the middle. And then to make sure they're even, I line them up just like this with the ends. And you'll see that one is a bit higher than the other. So I'll go ahead and take a pen and mark that and cut along that mark so that they're even. You might have some wood chips flying, so just be careful with that. Okay. Once you have your popsicle stick broken in half for your points, you're gonna lay them down in the middle of your horizontal pieces. So when they're laying flat on the table, it should look like this, okay? You want these 2 pieces to be taller than the parallel pieces that we first laid down, because the point shape will help the boat cut through the water, minimizing the drag or the resistance that the water gives to the boat. So it'll help it move a little smoother. So we're gonna lay those flat down, all on the table, get them as high of a point as you want. I'm gonna put mine about there. And the important thing is you wanna make sure on the inside everything is even. Because that will help out when we put the paddle on. So next what we want to do is we are going to make little boards to put, to stabilize and put behind our front of the boat. So what you will do is you're going to take a popsicle stick and you're going to lay it flat across the top of the horizontal board. Then what you're going to do with a pen or a pencil is mark where the board or the end of the popsicle stick meets the other end. So where the end of the popsicle stick hits the end of the parallel sticks that are laying down. Once you mark those, we're going to cut along those lines to make them, to cut off the points, because we don't want it longer than the width of our boat. So you should have a board that looks like this. You're going to want 2 of these up top and 2 of them on the bottom. So take 2, and I'm going to take my hot glue gun and I'm going to put glue right across all 3 boards and glue those top 2 boards down to stabilize my boat. Let's see, my boat kind of moved on me a little bit there. Okay, so this, well, I got glue string all over. So this is what it should look like in the front, and then in the back. If it's not even, you can go ahead and give it a slight push over. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take 2 more boards. So take another popsicle stick, or you'll need 2 more popsicle sticks, and you're gonna do the same thing we did on top with those boards and do them again at the very bottom. So we're gonna measure and cut. And then to make sure that I have them even, what I'll sometimes do is the first time I cut it, I will put that board right in the middle of this popsicle board and then cut along the edges of those. Okay. Now that you have your 2 boards cut, we're gonna put hot glue at the bottom of our boards and lay those 2 across to stabilize the bottom of our boat. Okay, so if we were to go on just with our boat like this, it probably wouldn't go very far or do much because of how flat it is. So when we talk about 3D printing or making models of stuff that would be 3D printed, we want to add layers to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to repeat this step, the whole process again, 2 more times. So you're going to take 2 more long popsicle sticks and glue them on the sides. So put hot glue, a line of hot glue on the top, a line of hot glue on the bottom, and glue the parallel sticks down. So it looks like this. We are going to cut 1 more popsicle stick in half. So we have 2 points, and we're gonna glue those down again. Pull that back so you can see. So you'll see it's doubled now. So now what we're gonna do is add our stabilizers again. So we're gonna put 2 boards here and 2 boards here, just like we had done before. I'll grab more hot glue for my hot glue gun. And again, you want to make sure that in the middle in here, you want to make sure that these are as even as possible and these are as even as possible, because when we put our paddle in, we want to make sure that it's wide enough apart for it to spin without it hitting any of the edges. So you can see it's double layered now. So we're going to do 1 more layer after you finish your double layer. I out of green, so I'm going to use regular popsicle sticks. Okay, now on your last layer, it is up to you if you want to put those stabilizers on again or not. You don't have to. It doesn't hurt to, but I will probably leave mine like this. So you can see there's 2 spots, and then there's our point. So this is the top of the boat, our bottom of our boat. Okay, so once you have that and you're good to go, and we're gonna put this to the side and let that dry. One thing to note when you're cutting those boards, make sure you save your end pieces, because this is what we will use for the paddle, which we're gonna start doing next. So as we're letting our boat our glue kind of harden up here and get settled, we're gonna take those end pieces that we cut off for the boards, and we are going to make the paddle. So the paddle in the end is going to look something like this. So you'll notice that what I did, there's 2 different ways you can do it, whatever way works better for you. But what I did when I glued it is they aren't glued directly in the center. They're kind of glued a little bit, I don't know if you can see that. That's a little better. They're kind of glued a little bit off of the center. This makes it a little easier to glue since it's so small, and 2, it helps it kind of keep that paddle shape when you spin it. So the first way you can make your paddle is by taking the ends of the popsicle sticks that you cut, and I usually measure within like a fingertip. So if I were to put this, use your fingertip right here, put this down on the top line of your finger, you're gonna cut right where your point is. So this half is gonna come off. Now sometimes if you cut, you have to be careful because your boards will maybe chip like this one did, which is totally okay. So you're gonna need 4 of these. If they do chip when you cut, the other option to do is take a popsicle stick, a full one. I'll use this one. Take a full popsicle stick, and again, just measure a finger length. I usually do it this way. So I'll go a finger length out from the edge, and I'll mark it there. And then, there we go. And then I'll go from a finger length from that line and mark it on this side. And this will be the width. That will be the width of your paddle. And then you'll do 4 more of those, or 3 more of those, excuse me. So whichever way works better for you to cut your paddles, go ahead and do. And you want to make sure that once you have them all cut, this is not working right now. There we go. You want to make sure that when you have them all cut, I don't know where that one just flew to. They are somewhat the same height. And then you want to make sure that you take it and you take your boat and you lay it inside your boat kind of where it would be. If it's too long and it's hitting, we want to cut that down a little bit. Okay? So once you get all 4 of those, see, I need 2 more. We are going to take, so I have all 4 of my paddles. We're going to take our hot glue gun and we're going to glue them together. So what I do, cut one more, is I'll take one chip and I'll go maybe a little bit in from the edge and put a little line of glue. And I'll take another chip and just stick it right there. If you can kind of see that. So you're gonna hold it there for a minute or so that the glue kind of holds it together. And if I were to hold one, it wouldn't flop. And then you're going to move it, and I like to move it into like a half a T shape and put a little bit of glue on the inside of that board. And you're just gonna keep doing it until you have all 4 pieces on there. So there's what the 3 looks like. And then I'll add one more going this way. You want to make sure you hold the piece that you're gluing onto so that it doesn't shift. You may need to go around and hold on to all of them and readjust. So one thing to notice when you're making your paddle is that the bigger of a paddle you have, oh, this is going all over. The bigger of a paddle you have, the faster the boat will go in the water. Now it's kind of hard to make super big paddles with the small boats that we're making today. But what happens when you have a bigger paddle or a smaller paddle, depending on what size you have, this is not, there we go, is that the water resistance and displacement differs depending on what size you have. So the bigger the paddle, the more, or the bigger the blade, the more water it can displace when it's moving through, pushing your boat faster. If you have a smaller paddle, it's going to make it go a little slower because it's not pushing as much water, it's not displacing as much water as it moves. So once you have your paddle kind of there, what I like to do is go around one more time just with some hot glue and put them all on the edges to make sure that my paddle's really glued together, stuck together, and then put it at the very top and at the very bottom so that it's all there. And you'll notice that this one looks a little longer than the rest of them. So once this is glued down, if I need to trim it, I can go ahead and trim the top of it. And a good way to know is that if you put it through here, if it were to wind, it shouldn't hit anything. While our paddle is drying, we're gonna go back to our boat and we're gonna need now our rubber band. Okay, so like I said, you can use a medium-sized rubber band or a smaller-sized rubber band. The smaller-sized rubber bands seem to fit a little better in our boat because we're gonna weave them through. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take it and you're gonna put it through one of the openings over here. So whichever side you want it to go through, go ahead and weave it through. So it should be pulled through like this. And what I do is I put my finger through one of them and I pull down and pinch in the middle so that I have this much to work with, and I'm gonna weave it through the other side of my boat. Okay, so you should have it looking like this on both sides. Now, what you want to do is make sure that this part is as centered as possible. So once you have it where you want it centered, you're gonna take this, wrap it around the side, and you're gonna pull up and loop it over the top, okay? So I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. And if your rubber band pulls up a little bit, that's okay. You can take the sides and pull it down to adjust. So if you look, let me fix it so it's in the middle. So this is what the top of my boat looks like now that I have the rubber band inside of in the middle of my boat. Now this rubber band is what's gonna store the energy that we use to make the paddle in the boat move. When you wind, so then we're gonna take the paddle and put it through so that there's two on this side, two on this side. So if I were to pull it out, this is how you would put it through. So the energy that is used when you wind the rubber band is called potential energy. So it's filling up the rubber band with all the energy it needs to move, but it's not doing anything. So it's just kind of sitting in this rubber band wind. You can see the more I wind it up, the tighter it gets, the more it wants to pull back forward. Now, when you release the rubber band, the potential energy is converted to kinetic energy, which is the movement of the paddle. So when we place this in water, this is how it will make it move faster or slower. The more you twist, the faster it'll go or the farther it'll go once that kinetic energy is put into motion. So once you have your boat kind of finished and you have your paddle in there, you can go ahead and take a bucket of water, fill up a bathtub, whatever you have. This is the bucket I have today. And you can use that potential energy, wind up your boat. Make sure I'm winding it up the right way. So you're gonna wind up your boat there, get all that potential energy stored in that rubber band. And then when you release your boat in the water, it should act as a paddle would. Ooh. It's going backwards. Let's see if I do it this way. Takes a minute to wind it up. There we go. So it'll push your boat through the water. Now if it had a larger tub or a larger area for me to push it, obviously it would go a little farther. But this paddle works like a fan, like the propeller on the fan. It transfers that energy by moving the water in a rotation or a propulsive motion. So it's spinning, the faster it spins, the faster the boat will go. The slower it spins, the slower the boat will go. I'm trying to get back in the center here. Let's see. Perfect. So this is your boat. If you want to, before putting it in the water, you can go ahead and decorate it with glitter or markers, whatever you want to do, make the boat yours. But if you do it or you watch us on replay or you watched us live and you're making your boat, please send us pictures or videos. We'd love to see how they turned out and you know how they work in your tub or your bucket filled with water. And we hope you had fun learning about, I'm gonna put this over here before I spill it. We hope you had fun learning about the boats and water motion and 3D printing and making your own self-propelling boat. So on next Wednesday, Ashley is going to be jumping on live making some chocolate chip zucchini muffins. So make sure you tune in for those. And then check us out next month. We'll be doing calming glitter jars on the 10th. March 10th, we'll be doing calming glitter jars for my Facebook Live, and then Ashley will have another Spend Smart, Eat Smart recipe for you. So thank you so much for joining. We hope you liked it, and make sure to send us your videos. Have a good day.